Hey friends, if you're new here, I'm Savannah. I'm a pre-law student who's also getting a degree in finance, and I would like to share what I learned in school today. So today was Tuesday, was our first day back from the Labor Day holiday, and I got to go to my serial killers class. We touched on some things that were pretty interesting that I'd like to share. Number one, we talked about this theory that was developed by a psychiatrist in 1963. It was a criminology theory called the McDonald triad. And what this does is it links three specific behaviors in adolescence to the likelihood of developing violent tendencies or antisocial personality disorder later in life. Three things. One is the one that I think we've all heard of, the cruelty to animals. Often they murder animals before they ever murder a person. Number two, they like to set fires, burn things, set fires. Number three, one that I had never heard of before, bedwetting. Apparently there's a link there. Now, more modern research is now saying that maybe those things are pointing to childhood trauma, abuse, or neglect, and that's what points to the antisocial personality disorder and the violent tendencies. That remains to be seen, I guess. I'm not a professional on that, but that was what was talked about there. Second thing, we were talking about just different types of serial killers, and my professor went back into talking about one of his conversations with Wayne Gacy, and he said they all want to be the top dog. They want to be the best. They want to have the most victims. They want to just be the best at their thing, I guess. And he said one of his conversations with Gacy where he was trying to talk to him about Ted Bundy, and it infuriated John. He didn't want to talk about that. He didn't want any of the attention off him. He didn't want to talk about Ted Bundy. He only wanted to talk about him and his crimes. And my professor said he would get real mad about it, and you could just tell how jealous he was, which is wild, but that's the thing. Okay, so then we talked about the different types of serial murderers. There's four. The visionary. This is one that blames voices or visions on their crimes. An example would be Son of Sam. Then you've got the mission-oriented. This is a serial killer I had never heard of prior to tonight. Robert Hansen, he hunted prostitutes on his land in Alaska. I'm going to look up some stuff about that, maybe talk about him later. It seemed kind of interesting. Number three, the power or control-oriented. That's going to be your Ted Bundys of the world. And then the last kind is the hedonistic or lust murderers, like the Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. A subcategory of that is the lust killer who does it for sexual arousal gratification. My professor says this is the most dangerous type of serial killer. This is Ed Kemper. This is the trigger warning. This is really disgusting and awful. The one who was into necrophilia, and even with his mother's own body after he murdered her. And my professor said something I had never thought of before, but I think is super interesting. That particularly in this case, interviews and such have pointed to the fact that Ed Kemper had never had sex with a live woman. He was into necrophilia because they could not judge him, his performance or lack thereof. Crazy, right? Okay, so that's what I learned in school today, and I'll be back tomorrow with whatever we learn tomorrow.